3 more weeks. 3 more weeks. 3 more. Yo, what's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of Too Much Fantasy Football. Your host Brian is here. Brennan's out of town, but of course I had to bring in somebody great. The waiver wire wizard, as he's known around the QB List podcast. My favorite Monday night's partner in crime, Mario Adamo Jr. What's up, buddy? How we doing tonight?
Brian, I am doing well. Happy to be here. I'm so happy you introduced me by my proper title, the waiver wire wizard. We're really pushing that moniker this season, so happy to be here.
100%. People know where to come for the waiver wire advice. This is the guy. You want to know when to take Kendrick Bourne or not? He'll tell you when. That's for sure.
Okay. You know, it was an ironic pick, the Kendrick Bourne thing. I stand by it.
Hey, he's coming back this year. You know, New England needs a number one, and they've got so many guys to choose from. So maybe it'll be him.
Yeah, it will be. Or it'll be
today, today we're wrapping up week 2 of the preseason. Too many things have happened, and I know it's hard to keep up. We're barely caught up with it. So today it's a little news. We're going to catch up with all this stuff. So, well, let's get it rolling. And we have to start with the most exciting stuff first, right? The Raiders QB battle. No, actually, we just need to get this out of the way because I told the fans we talk about the Raiders. Here it is. Gardner Minshew, week 1 starter. Aiden O'Connell will be the backup. Mario, you surprised about this at all? I mean, the amount of money he got, we kind of saw this coming.
Kind of saw it coming, and also I watched Aiden O'Connell play last season, so I kind of saw this coming. But I think Minshew, we played for the Colts, your Colts last season, and he was electric. I'd say he was good for Pittman. You know, he definitely got force-fed. So I think that this is good for Davante Adams, just kind of already jumping into the predictions. So I'm excited. Minshew's a great personality. It's better when he's active in the league. So let's go.
I think it's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, I don't see Minshew holding the job all season. Aiden O'Connell is going to come in here at some point once that losing skid comes in just to see what they have out of the second-year player. But as far as like overall morale for the team, I think Minshew's the guy. You got a better chance at winning. He almost took the Colts. He was 1 play away from taking the Colts to the playoffs last year. Do I think the Raiders can pull it off? The AFC's kind of a rough team, but like you said, as far as force-feeding a guy like Davante Adams or Brock Bowers, I think it does them plenty well. I'm afraid to take Adams right now in the second round. I will kind of throw that out there, but at the same time, there's worse QBs to be had.
Yeah, agreed.
Speaking of worse QBs to be had, let's head to Pittsburgh. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. I don't know if I'm happy with either one. Maybe it's a good thing they're partnered up with Arthur Smith, so they're not going to have to throw it all that much, but neither one of these guys is looking exciting right now.
No, there's no optimism here. I'm worried about letting Russ cook. I was kind of a big believer, like early on in this offseason, where it was just, I thought he got the short end of the stick in Denver. I kind of thought Sean Payton was over him. I thought, let's just give him a new opportunity. And Pittsburgh, they are kind of known for finding these diamond in the rough wide receivers. So I was like, there's going to be people to throw to, right? They just kind of have that talent. But if you can't deliver the ball well, Justin Fields wasn't really known for his arm when he was in Chicago. He was known for his legs, if anything. So it's bad. It's a bad place. Pittsburgh is like a fantasy like wasteland. I am kind of staying away from that area.
It's interesting. Do you think Brandon Ayuk saw the play this week and that's why he's kind of pushed back? You know what, 49ers, maybe we can make something work here. Maybe I was being a little rash trying to go to the 49 or the Steelers.
I mean, he might even pick up New England's call again after seeing Pittsburgh.
Right, no kidding. Drake May was he was decent, ran in a touchdown this past weekend, so showing off those wheels that he kind of has. They're decent wheels, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, last quarterback we have to pile on here. Last of the bad ones, anyway. Daniel Jones. My goodness, I was finally coming around to Malik Neighbors. I just wasn't into him. Not the talent, just who he's working with here, and not really the guy I wanted to link on to, but Daniel Jones is just proving that he is just the guy that they paid. A mediocre talent that loves to turn it over.
Oh, my goodness. I so agree about the Malik Neighbors thing where there's potential for him to be like that rookie season Jamar Chase, that rookie Justin Jefferson, where he will just flat out win you the league because you drafted him in the 8th round and he's a first-round talent. But the guy giving him the ball is not a first-round talent. He's not a draftable talent. Like, I mean, how deep does your fantasy league need to be for Daniel Jones to get drafted? So it's looking rough. I mean, he's looking like his old form. I don't know if Tommy Cutlets is still on the team.
Mr. DeVito.
Yeah. I don't know. It's rough. But I don't know what the quarterback class looks like next season either. Just like to really jump ahead.
They definitely have the out, and going out this offseason, they signed Drew Lock. So I actually have Drew Lock starting a few games this season, whether it be just injury from Daniel Jones coming off the ACL injury, he misses games from time to time, or just this team looks bad. This coach did really well 2 years ago, got a lot of hype. They had a bad year because of the injury, so I can see him being put in that position where he has to prove out some wins, whether that's benching Daniel Jones and bringing in Drew Lock, or like you said, the Cutlet coming out. So Malik Neighbors, man, I wish it was more appealing. Like it's just a bad situation.
It's a bad situation, but you know what? Somebody's going to take him, and he's going to win the league for somebody. I would not be surprised, but it won't be me. I'm not taking the risk.
Not this guy.
Yeah.
Speaking of superstar rookie wide receivers, Rome Odunze, did you catch the catch that he had down the field from Caleb Williams? It was awesome. I was flipping through the game. It was second quarter, and Caleb Williams is still out there. I'm like, let's go. That's the preseason I want to see. But I'm not a huge fan of Eberflus and the coaching staff that's there. But I think that this talent can outplay the bad coaching I'm expecting we're going to see. Chicago, you excited?
I'm excited. I was huge into DJ Moore last season. I'm even higher into him this year. The only thing I'm now worried about is how good Odunze looked, where it's like, oh no, like please, we're trying to focus all of our targets and efforts into DJ Moore. But Caleb looks like the real deal. And I agree with what you said about the coaching staff. I mean, you have to think about Peyton Manning made Adam Gase look so good, right? Like he was the hot ticket. I was upset when my Eagles didn't get him. And lo and behold, it's like, oh no, it was just Peyton Manning. I liked Peyton Manning, it turns out, not the guy behind him. So we'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a good season. You're obviously going to keep the coach. I don't think you want to mix things up too much for the young player.
Cowboys offering CeeDee Lamb just under $33 million a year is what's being reported. Still no deal in place. I'm getting nervous just on the fact that we see players that miss that August training, running around doing stuff like that, and then they come out there with week one, whether it's with the deal or not, and they're just not game ready, whether they're not up to speed, whether their body just isn't used to the hits, and they're more prone to injury. So it's CeeDee Lamb. I'm still taking him in the top 3 picks almost no matter what, but it does worry me a little bit just that he's not out there working with the team.
100% agree. We have seen this before where the player, they show up week one, but like you said, their body's just not football ready. It's obviously like we watch football. We know what goes into it. It's different than a non-contact sport. So I am worried. I'm in some leagues, I'm drafting the 3rd overall pick, and I'm just very hesitant. I'm like, if CD's there, he's the most talented guy there. But talent doesn't do me any good if he's not playing. So, and it's funny, NFL's fantasy, NFL.com, they have him listed as a free agent because he hasn't been, reporting to camp. So I was just like, oh my gosh, like just funny to see 3rd overall. I'm taking a free agent, rolling the dice.
Right.
So. Does not feel good.
Can't make you feel good. But we're recording this night of the 19th here early. Hopefully we're getting news at some point this week about CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase. Let's just pay all the guys. Can we just get everybody back on the field, please? Please.
Yep.
Not exactly fantasy relevant, or at least for this show, because we do mainly dabble in redraft. But if you do IDP leagues or are just excited to see what these Falcons are about, they're making a push. It's not just signing Kirk Cousins. They're putting pieces around here to actually compete, play for a division that's pretty winnable. Added Judon from the Patriots, and then also signed Simmons, the safety. Judon posted 28 sacks between 2021 and 2022, behind only Myles Garrett and Nick Bosa. Only played 4 games last year because of a torn bicep, but adding him there on the line to, just as edge pressure, also adding more depth to the secondary, which they also have Jesse Bates. I'm excited for this team. If we can get some extra turnovers, get that offense back on the field, Kirk Cousins has a great chance of throwing 30, 35 plus touchdowns this season and just absolutely putting on a show for these pieces that I'm like frothing at the mouth. Give me some Kyle Pitts, give me Bijan, and give me Drake London. I'm ready for it.
I'm stoked. I love the Falcons. You covered it so well. The division, super duper winnable. The Bucs won it last year. They beat my Eagles, so I can't talk, but they looked bad doing it. The Eagles looked worse, but the Bucs looked bad. So this is Atlanta's time to strike. I love that they're making this push. And like you said, Kirk before he got injured, he's always good for that. He'll get you 25 to 30, 35 passing touchdowns. It's not pretty. It's not flashy. He's not doing the runs, but he's just a consistent guy. So he is definitely, I'm excited about Atlanta.
And he had multiple years while he was there in Minnesota that he supported 2 top 12 wide receivers. So I don't think he's going to be doing that with wide receivers quite there, but Kyle Pitts can be competing with some of the top end wide receivers this year. I think that he has, as some of the tight ends that are being taken past tight end 5, he's one of the few that I think has an easy opportunity to be the overall tight end 1. Not quite calling that, not that where I'm predicting it, but if you look at my best ball exposure, I kind of am. So let me get off the Kyle Pitts love here because Mario's going to shut me down if he doesn't jump out of the call here. We dabbled on the Raiders a little bit, but Davante Adams, evidently he tweaked something at Wednesday practice. It seems like he's doing okay. But with an ADP in the second round, where is your comfort level with taking him this year?
So I've done mock drafts from a whole bunch of different positions to try to get a feel, get different angles. And I'll say I'm comfortable taking him if I'm an early pick, right? Like if I'm a pick like 1, 2, maybe even 3, just kind of around that turn when it comes back to me in 2. It's just like the talent's there. We kind of talked about it a little bit at the top of the show, but Minshew is just going to lock onto a guy and sling it to him. He's not going to overthrow him like Jimmy G will or just flat out ignore Adams. So I'm excited about the volume and the opportunity, but I'm a little hurt after last year. He's getting up there in age. So it would need to be late second or, like I said, like even early third. Like, again, if I'm the second overall pick, if he's there, third round, second pick for me, I'm snagging him up. But like I said, end of second, I'll feel comfortable.
So he's going around guys like Marvin Harrison, Chris Olave, Drake London. You had to put those guys in order. Where are you taking him above them or after them or somewhere in the middle?
Okay. I think I take him before Olave. Olave would be at the bottom of this list. I've been hurt too much by him. I would give me those names. There's Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Harrison and Drake London.
Ooh, okay. I think I'm going to go Harrison because it's new. It's exciting. Like I want to see what's going on there. DeAndre Hopkins isn't there anymore. And I can't even tell you another pass catcher in Arizona. Maybe that's more on me. Then I'll go Adams and then London, just because London's another one. Maybe London's going to get that bump because of Kirk Cousins, like we just said, but I'm not ready. I'm not ready to see overseas yet. Yeah.
London right now, I've got him statted over 100 targets, a little over that, I think. But I think Adams has a higher floor because 150 targets without an injury is easily obtainable for him. So I think he has a higher floor, but right there in that pick, I do like London just as far as that like shooting for the moon pick. But we're taking him so high. And Marvin Harrison, there's no room for error. These guys are going right around the wide receiver 12. So if they don't blow up, they're going to be disappointing. Like they have to do so well to return that value. So yeah, I'm definitely like teetering with a lot of these wide receiver 2s.
And out of all of those guys, it's like, even we just talked about it, and I may even be going back on myself. It's like the only one that we've ever seen, and obviously history doesn't show future results, but the only one we've ever seen do it is Davante Adams. Davante Adams is the only one of that bunch where I feel like I could trust. So, but it doesn't feel great.
I was going to say he's also, I think, one of 4 guys that has ever done it from the age of 31 or older, and he was one of those 4 guys that did it, doing it last year. So that's the other scary part is like when do the wheels fall off? I loved Julio Jones, one of the biggest Julio fans ever, and boy was I crushed that first year in Tennessee.
Oh my goodness! And don't forget his stint on the Eagles too. I mean, you can forget it. It's very forgettable. But
God, I did that. What? Yeah, right. A lot of those players, like Reggie Wayne going to the Patriots for 2.5 weeks, and like some of the Andre Johnson coming to the Colts, like just.
You just memory bank those, but you're so right about just like that little cluster of 4 where it almost feels like the real NFL draft where you're like picking the quarterbacks, and it's like everybody drafting here knows it's like not all 4 of these guys are going to hit. Like one of us got the short end of the stick, but the potential, the upside is just there, and that's why you drafted them.
You got to take those risks to win. You're not playing for second place, folks. All right, moving down the list here. I know seems like we're talking Homer stuff, but Josh Downs, we'll call him the slot wide receiver for the Colts, impressing in camp, looking like he's going to have a great season coming into year 2. High ankle sprain though, out 4 to 6 weeks. So Adonai Mitchell, the Colts' second-round pick, fell, projected to be maybe a low-end first-round pick. Looks like he is going to be plugging in. Had some great highlights, some deep ball catches. I am excited for it, but with Anthony Richardson, I don't think we're going to see a consistent pass catcher outside of Michael Pittman. Share those feelings. Are you willing to take those shots on some of these guys?
100% agree. It felt like Josh Downs, he was a recurring guest, it felt like, on the waiver wire show last season. Oh, yeah. But it's like there was a reason why he was always flirting with like the below 50%. He's great for the deeper leagues. And I think, like you said, the second-round guy will be good for those deeper leagues. But when it comes time to drafting, if it's not Pittman, I don't think I'm touching another pass catcher.
Yeah, Steichen, Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm there with you. The head coach of the Colts, Steichen, calls it a lot of RPO, the run pass option, and which leads to a lot of the the first look passes, first read, and Michael Pittman is that. He is going to be the first read in most of those plays, so the targets consolidation is going to just funnel through him, and I think that's where the success is going to be. Kamani Vidal, the running back for the Chargers, everybody's hoping who's going to be. Is Gus Edwards still going to hold on? Is J.K. Dobbins, do his legs work? Or is it going to be this, he's either 5th or 6th round rookie? After the first week, there was a report that he might not even make the 53-man roster. I'm sitting here crying my eyes out in the corner because my best ball exposure is higher than it should be to this guy. But after week 2, 11 carries, 49 yards. He was 2 for 3 on his targets. So maybe we're looking like he might hit that 53-man roster. Again, if you're drafting this guy in your redraft, it's going to be later. Gus Edwards is going late. So this guy who is a handcuff of handcuffs might not even be drafted in some leagues. But I thought it was worth being brought up. Folks that are just coming right back to all this. This is a name that's going to be completely new to you. But it's all about finding those deep gems, especially here with the waiver wire wizard.
No, but you make such a good point. It's like it's like round 13 when it's like you're just go shooting for anything, right? Like he will definitely be available. Like you said, he's a handcuff, but it's almost like the jump start on those waiver weeks. It's like nobody would have picked Puka before last week. Nobody definitely Kendrick Bourne, who again, my priority target of week 1 last year, he was available in the draft. So, the round 13, he's worth a dice roll. I don't know if I'm as excited about you are. Like I don't have hit all the best ball experience. But we'll see. And we know that Harbaugh loves running the ball. So,
I mean, who are they throwing it to? Keenan Allen was traded away. Mike Williams after the ACL tear left. So it's interesting. They've got a rookie there. They've got 3rd, 4th, 5th-year players that haven't amounted to a whole lot. And then, of course, Quentin Johnston, the guy that we just didn't know what to do on the waiver show last year. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
All the talent, but not the hands. It was like the talent went everywhere else in his body except the hands.
Jaden Daniels, the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft, went to the Commanders. He has been announced as the starter. I don't think there was anybody really concerned that this guy wasn't going to get the nod. Cliff Kingsbury was enamored with this kid. He loves himself a mobile quarterback. I personally am excited despite the rookie we're seeing. 2nd pick going to the Commanders, running like the RG3 comparisons are just floating everywhere here. And that's what we could be looking at. RG3's rookie year was so much fun for fantasy, especially in the back half. So I just finished up my rankings. This guy is a fringe QB1 for me. the running upside plus the arm, we could see that happen. Kyler was a QB9, I believe, his first year in the league with DeAndre Hopkins, who was able to hyper target, and Cliff Kingsbury, who he has here. So I'm excited.
I'm stoked. I mean, for all the reasons like we saw last year before Anthony Richardson got hurt, but it's just like one of those rookie quarterbacks, absolutely electric with the rushing upside, with a guy, Terry McLaurin, who has been, I feel like just, I don't want to say overhyped, but he's like, we've seen that he has the talent. It's just the quarterback play hasn't been there. So I'm excited about Terry. I think he's someone that isn't getting enough love. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's funny how, like the Giants are in like the disaster side, and then right across the, in the same division, it's like, here these guys are.
Next one, I can't believe I'm putting him in here, but he has to be talked about. Taysom Hill, tight end. Yes, tight end for the Saints, one of their 14. It looks like they're done with the quarterback play. They've talked about Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill both getting some run at running back. This guy has to be rostered. I'm at the point where I just feel like he has to be rostered. If you don't get a top 7-8 tight end, there's a handful right after that, the Evan Ingrams, the Njokus, the Fergusons, but if you don't get a big, sexy tight end, ditch it. Ditch the position and grab Taysom Hill as well as some other dude, because I think he's in line. This past game, 5 carries, 21 yards and a touchdown. He scores touchdowns at an like the rate that he scores is just, it's ridiculous. But he's put in those positions, so it's hard for me not to want to grab him. Am I crazy here?
Oh my goodness. This is Taysom Hill. This is the Taysom Hill experience where you get him and 1 week he's going to go ahead and he's going to finish as the number 1 overall tight end. Like, here is just a great example. Here's a great 3-game stretch for you of last year. And this is, I'll pull it up for PPR. It's not as sexy in PPR. I'm going to do it in standard. In standard, week 8 at the Colts, he finished with 21.5 points. Number 1 tight end that week because he had how many touchdowns? He had 2 rushing touchdowns. Like, he's just unprecedented. So tight end 1. Week after that, tight end 4. And you're like, how? Like, I can't miss with this guy. He had 16.6 points. He had a receiving touchdown. He had all the good numbers. Week after that, 2.3 points for tight end 21. And that's just like expropriated all throughout the season, except he's not finishing in 1 as often. That was his only finish as 1 in standard, at least. It's like between 6 and 8, or he's tight end 57, where like he was week 15 against the Giants. So the numbers always look good, but it's just that he gets like 3 touchdowns in a game. And you're like, oh my, he finished with 6 touchdowns last year. It's like, yeah, 3 of them were in 1 game. You won that 1 week. Congratulations. You got your 0.5 the other week. So I don't know. He deserves to be rostered, but I never feel good plugging him into my lineup. I never feel like I'm outsmarting the competition.
For sure. It'll be one that after week 1, week 2, you really want to see not necessarily just the snap count, but what are those valuable snaps looking like? What are his snap to touch ratio? Because I think they'll have him involved. They're paying him a lot of money, so he has to be out there and do something. Alvin Kamara's efficiency as far as rushing has gone down every single year these last few years. And this offensive line, I believe it's PFF's ranked last offensive line. Their best lineman, Ramczyk, out for the season. So they're going to have to do something. Going to have to get creative. They've got a new OC in there bringing in a lot of pre-snap motion. So maybe that does something for Taysom. We're setting up some fun plays. I don't know. It's just one of those, especially my dynasty leagues. I have them all over the place. He won me Caleb Williams in a dynasty league because I played him at quarterback and I was able to tank. Not that we tank. We don't approve tanking here, folks. Yeah, we do.
We don't approve tanking. It's like the NBA, Mark Cuban sitting all of his guys late in the season. But just one other thing about Taysom Hill, about like the meaningful snaps. It's like you're going to see his snap count and you'd be like, oh, it's not so bad. But that's because half of his snaps are coming on punt returns and punt blocks. And it's like, 'cause that's what he's just doing everything. So I don't know. I'm not thrilled, but I always feel, I don't know. Sometimes I'll start him, but I'm not now. I'm over him.
Didn't sign up for the conversation, but I'm glad we're having it.
Yeah.
Heartbreak for the Vikings fans. Like, RIP, folks. JJ McCarthy, torn meniscus, goes in for surgery, finds out it is season-ending surgery. So these next few guys we're going to be talking about, it's Justin Jefferson's healthy this year, but his quarterback's not. So we've got the Ghost Whisperer and Sam Darnold there. We also have Jahmyr Gibbs, came up with a hamstring injury, questionable for week 1. CMC with the calf strain, we've seen those linger from time to time. Jaylen Warren all of a sudden popped up, questionable with the hamstring, out till possibly week 1, maybe longer. Hollywood is out for 4 weeks with a shoulder something or other. And then Puka, PCL sprain, week to week. Now, all these guys outside of Warren and Hollywood are first-round picks, or in J.J. McCarthy's stance, he's got Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
Are we overreacting? Are we reacting appropriately? Or is there an underreaction if we don't do anything here? Because my best ball drafts, these guys are going all over the place. I saw Gibbs go to the 3rd.
That's
recently.
crazy.
CMC's dropping to like the 4th, 5th in some draft. Like, it's chaos is ensuing.
Crazy. Yeah,
we're on full tilt. Week 3, here we go.
Yeah, people have to relax. I mean, it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's like the stock market, right? Like, it had that bad Monday a few weeks back, and it was just like, oh my gosh, everybody panics. Like, you got to ride it out, people. Like, buckle up, diamond hands. That's what we have to do. CMC should still go first overall in every single league, unless I am in that league and I am behind the first overall pick. Then don't take him. Let him fall to me. Gibbs, I am a little bit more concerned, but he's still a 2nd-round talent minimum. Like, if I'm sitting there, if I have the first overall pick and it's coming around to the turn, like, I'm taking him. I wouldn't even take him at 3-1 just because that's disrespectful, because he is a 2nd-round talent. So Gibbs, you still take. If anything, I'm more worried because Monty's going to get his. There's going to be those times where they're just like, hey, let's do this weird goal line package. You could even also argue that maybe, I think Jameson Williams' name, I'm getting reacclimated to all the names, but it's just like that deep ball threat, the guy that they're Deshaun Jackson, basically. He might get a little bit more involved. That takes away from Gibbs and just the offense as a whole. But Gibbs is still too talented. Let's keep going down the list. McCarthy stinks. I drafted him in Scott Fish Bowl with like one of my late picks. He's just gone. That's a bummer. And then Jaylen Warren's an interesting one because I remembered him doing better than Najee last year, but Najee still had 1,000 yards last year to Warren's 784. So I'll say Warren did have double his receiving targets. So it's just such an interesting backfield, but you already talked about Pittsburgh. It's a wasteland. So I don't know.
I still love Najee here. Russell Wilson, just the amount of checkdowns that we like. That's what Najee's bread and butter was his rookie year. He had Big Ben just dumping off. So if Warren's going to miss a few weeks, we get a hot start from Najee. Steelers have a terrible second half of the schedule, but I think he could get off to a lights out start just between that and Arthur Smith just running the crap out of the ball. Sure, Darnell Washington's probably going to score a touchdown or two because just that's what's going to happen. Tied into. Yeah. But I'm still excited about Najee. Just let's keep that ADP down. There's no reason to overreact and kick that up.
Yeah, I will CMC, say just about Najee. I was just like looking at his numbers. He had 94 targets his rookie season, which is half of his career targets. I had no idea that like his rookie season has more targets than his second and third season combined. It's like I was like,
Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley started the same way. He had Eli's rookie year, and then he lost him, and that's when we saw that volatility come from their production.
Oh, so you might be onto something here about Najee. I think that's a good one.
You talk. It's not my best ball show. We'll go to too much best ball when we talk about it. But my Najee exposure, it's there. He is a great cleanup running back. Okay. CMC, folks, don't overreact. Don't freak out. Still take him at the 101. If you don't want to take him with one of those first two picks, I have no problem taking CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill. I've been taking a lot of those guys, even in my best balls that I've been taking. But I also have no problem if CMC is falling to 3 and 4, taking Bijan or Brees. I get it. You can't argue with CMC, the greatness that is there. But when
Oh,
you compound the amount of touches he has, the offensive line has changed there in the 49ers. Their rest ratio is one of the worst this year. Their schedule's bad, and it's not even that I'm trying to crap on CMC. It's because I think that Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson are going to have just amazing years. That offensive line is so improved up in New York. The Falcons already have a top-rated offensive line. Both of them have old quarterbacks that are going to dump off the ball, so we're look for that too. So it's all these pieces that put together, and then you like if the toss-ups age, give me the 22-year-old. Give me that. CMC's almost my age, and I know how I feel. I can't imagine how that dude gets. He gets hit with a Mack truck every Sunday for most of the fall. So I don't want to be hot takey here, but I have no problem switching out any of those three running backs.
I will say that at the third overall, some of the mocks I've been doing was grabbing Breece Hall. Like I've seen the drafts go CMC 1, CD 2, and then I was like, I could get Hill here, who's definitely going to get his. But Aaron Rodgers has to play more than 5 snaps this year, right? So I'm excited about Breeze.
I took the over-under. It's 10 snaps this year.
Oh, my gosh.
Going over. All right, Mario. I think that about wraps up the week 2 news. We're going into week 3 here. We're excited, folks. But before we get out of here, Mario, where can the people find you? What you working on?
Oh, my goodness. What am I working on? So you can find me on Twitter at Mario Adamo Jr. You can also find me at QB List. I do a couple podcasts there with Brian, who you may or may not be familiar with. Probably are if you're listening to his stuff. But those are the best places to find me. Super excited about this fantasy season coming up. And I mean, that's just it.
Folks, I mean, you're listening. You probably know where I'm at here at @too_much_Brian on Twitter. And of course, all over here on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. We've got Too Much Best Ball, Too Much Fantasy Football. And Brennan, I promise he'll be coming back here in the next week or so. But until then, we've got another episode with Mario. So stay tuned and we'll see you next time.